I'm a little bit edgy because I just had a donut. Woo! I'm not nervous. I'm chill. Here we go, guys. Here we go. That's notable. Hey, I'm Greg Marshall. This is That's Notable. I'm going to be interviewing people who have been recognized as notable marketing executives. So welcome to That's Notable. I hope you enjoy the conversations. Welcome to That's Notable, a podcast hosted by me, Greg Marshall. I interview people who have been identified as a notable marketing executive. The goal is to find out what I think is actually truly notable about the other person. If anything, if not, I'll let them know. But so far, they've all had something. Sara Maio is amazing, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Wisconsin Center District, where she oversees marketing and communications for the Baird Center, which is massively remodeled recently. Expanded, I should say. Remodeled sounds very small. UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena, Miller High Life Theater, and the Wisconsin Center District at large, all its communication. She has a ton of experience in developing and executing integrated brand and marketing strategies, internal and external communication strategies, public relations, government affairs. Basically, she does a lot of stuff and very intelligent, deeply involved in very meaningful things. And I'm excited for you to hear the conversation because it's not only insightful, it's pretty funny. So enjoy. And I just want to give a shout out to our producer, Dylan Tager. Dylan Tager. How do you say your name? Dylan Tager? That's right. Dylan Tager. So thanks to Dylan. Without him, this would probably run a lot smoother. But he's doing his best. Dylan's doing his best back there. He's on his phone right now. I don't know what he's doing, but that's all. Get ready for the show. And super excited about our sponsor that you're about to find out about. They, real supportive of the show. All right. So what I think is awesome is that we started having the same mic, and now we don't have the same mic, which there's a whole story there. But we're not going to tell it because it's not about the mics.
Smoke and mirrors, my friend.
Yeah.
You see nothing.
Yeah. And I've always said Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say it, right?
That's what I married into. I would argue Mayo, but
okay,
you get what you get.
I think Maio would be fresh too.
Oh, like
I am Sara Maio. Very serious. My name is Sara Maio.
that is. Okay, good. I'll add that to my autobiography.
Yeah, do that. Maio.
Do I need an apostrophe?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so too.
After the word, just to mix it up. But before we get started, I actually did an intro after you left. I'm gonna after you leave.
Oh.
But at the point where people are hearing this, it's after you left that I'm gonna do the intro, so everyone's gonna know who you are.
Okay.
And then we'll start.
It's a lot of pressure.
I got a lot of good stuff on you. You've done a lot of fancy things. But real quick though, I gotta celebrate our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Mustaches. Mustaches. Grow one. Pretty cool tagline, don't you think?
It's not a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing, sir. Okay. So yeah, like I said, you've done a lot of fancy things, and I want to know, why are you successful? What happened? What did you choose? What have you done? Why are you successful?
I chose to say yes to scary choices and opportunities and get my butt kicked by life in ways that I just didn't see coming, and stuff I had to wrestle with, and purposefully take a step back sometimes to accomplish other things, which was like a really hard pill for me to swallow, but it was the right thing to do, and I stand by that decision. And then, the universe kind of said, good for you. Now go be awesome in other ways. And I just kept saying yes. I think a lot of people have a lot of opportunity that comes their way, but it might be disguised as something that is an opportunity, you just got to say yes. And if it's terrible, then you can go back. That's fine. Yeah. But what if you say yes and give it a try?
So I love that phrase. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but like making scary choices.
Totally.
Saying yes to scary choices. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you get your butt kicked by whatever's happening. Mm-hmm. Can you think of a time where it almost felt like too much and you were questioning whether you were on the right path?
Basically every day. Yeah, I think, for me, the scariest thing I've ever done was to take a step back professionally to spend more time being a mom. I didn't leave the workplace, but I stepped back, and it was after my first kid was born. She was like 6 months old, probably less than that even. And like, I was so career driven and so professionally focused, literally my entire life. 100% of my days was just, here's what I'm going to do, here's where I'm going to be. And it all involved working. And then after that little thing was born, and like, I was so unprepared to even feel like I might not want to return to the workplace. It took me a long time to wrestle with it and to cope with it, because it felt so, I was just completely overwhelmed by the desire to stay home. I had no idea that it was coming. I had no clue that I would feel like that. And so it was a big, I take a lot of personal pride in my professional output. And so to get to the point where I could understand that, making that choice, which is what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to make that sacrifice as well. And like being comfortable with that and still being in a workplace and giving it 110%, but 3 days a week, and finding an opportunity to try to make those things happen simultaneously. I'm not going to call it balance because that is a load of shit, but to make it work for us at that time was a gift. And then, the people that I was surrounded with at that time just gave me total free runway to do what I wanted to do and make it awesome and then go home. And like, that was a beautiful experience and has really shaped me now that I have a seat at the table now as a leader, now as someone who can influence the lives of others who are in that same position.
Yeah. I have a mentor who would say, balance is a myth. We manage tensions.
Totally.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yes. And those tensions shift every day.
Yeah. Okay. So, so many questions that just spun off of that. What is your relationship like with ambition now? What does it mean? Because it's complicated. How do you relate to ambition?
To me, ambition is like, it almost is a literal fire in your belly. I feel it. And it is a physical feeling inside that just kind of churns and is in there. That is to me a huge source of my daily tension and pretend balance, because ambition often for me is related professionally, not personally. And I want to be very careful about the way that I instill it into my kids, because I don't want them to think that that it is like a burden. I want them to embrace it as fuel, because they all have it in different ways. But I need to be real careful about the way that I impose my own on them and drive them, because I want them, they have to find their own paths, as we all know. But professionally for me, ambition means coming in every day. And let me tell you what, I'm responsible for the energy I bring in the room 100% of days. Every single day, I am very focused on what energy am I bringing to this room, because I know for sure that it influences those around me. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what happened to me at home that morning, or how many lunches I had to pack, or what time I had to get up, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Or when the kids were younger, who threw up on me, or whatever. It doesn't matter. No one at work cares. I mean, they care because they're nice people, but it's not their burden, right? So I am responsible 100% of days for the energy that I bring into that room because it does affect other people. And I want them to also feel ambitious and excited about the projects that we're working on and the things that we're tackling and the ways that we can feel successful and energized in our own day. And then, by the way, I want them to go home at the end of the night and be like, wow, that was a great day. And now I'm going to bring great energy back into my own personal life and my home. Like, to me, it's all interwoven. I used to be so convinced that I could keep my personal and my professional lives separate.
Yeah.
Today I say, ha, madam, you cannot.
There are so many great illusions that you start out with.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like,
Right. And certainties, right?
it's going to be like this.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many things like that with parenting and professional life that I just think like no one ever told me this, but anything like, would it have made any sense?
Totally. You can't articulate it, and it falls on deaf ears. I mean, unless you live it and get your face smashed in by life a couple of times, like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your bio talks about you being a vocal advocate for working moms.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
It shows up in a few ways. I hope. I think the first thing that it means is that I want young mothers who are either my colleagues or perhaps see me in the workplace, that they look and go, okay, I can fulfill all parts of me. It is possible. So I want them to, representation matters. And I hope to be a representative for younger generations to know that it can be done. More practically speaking, having a seat at the table and being able to positively influence workplace procedure and policy, culture, things like that. Listen, my youngest is 7, and it was not, which 7 years sounds like an eternity ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And I had all 4 of my maternity leaves were unpaid. That means that I took 12 weeks off times 4. So that is an entire calendar year that I was out of the workforce, not earning any money or contributing to my household because my leave was unpaid, not getting any contribution to my retirement fund, not getting any involvement professionally. And it was garbage. And I won't stand for it. And fortunately, so many companies now have thankfully moved into a space where that's not the norm for them, for moms and dads alike. But let me tell you, that experience is not so far in my rearview mirror, and I won't stand for it. And so when I have an opportunity to speak up about how we should run our business, I'm standing up certainly for all parents, but especially for moms. Or even practically speaking, you're a new mom, let's say you're a nursing mom, where are you going to pump? I have pumped in dark corners of hallways and in bathrooms that are probably filthy because there was no other option for me. That sucks. And it's just, we can be better. It's not that hard. Just freaking do it. Just be better. And that's the energy that I want to bring certainly to this issue and for that, to me, underserved group. But same across all audiences and all staff that I have an opportunity to influence. Let's just be better and be great. And it has worked out pretty well for us. And I hope it's worked out really well for the people who have been on the receiving end of these updates and changes and modernizations.
What do you think is the most important, either advice or encouragement that a working mom needs to hear?
To the actual mom, I would say, you're doing great. You're doing great. But you need to ask for help. When you need help, ask for it very clearly. And to the manager of the working mom, I would suggest be very open in your dialogue about what is manageable for her right now. I had a peer of mine, a colleague of mine, asked me, this was a couple years ago. She had a young working mom on her team who she really wanted to promote. She's like, oh my God, she is killing it. She's bringing it every day. This is amazing. I really want to promote her. Don't you think she's going to be so excited about this? I said, maybe. It might also feel so crushingly overwhelming that she like internalizes it and kind of gets crushed from within. Like you maybe should just have a very open conversation with her and saying, listen, I see what you're doing. You are amazing. Your work product is unbelievable. I would like for this thing to happen. If now is not the right time, maybe can we talk about it maybe in 6 months and just see how you're doing? And just know that like sometimes status quo, especially in those early months and early years when the littles are really little, it might be okay. It might be okay for you, for them. It might be okay.
Okay. So that's a side of you that I feel like the whole conversation could be about, is like really diving into that. The other end of the spectrum of where you put your energy being, for example, a $456 million Baird Center expansion. So what was your role during that process and today?
Yeah. I've had a lot of exciting career milestones, but it's hard for me to imagine that any will top this project. So proud of it and so proud to be part of the team who brought it to fruition. So it started in 2019 to identify that the city needed an expansion on this convention center because our objective and our job is to bring outsiders and their money into the city, love on the city, leave their money behind them, come back and visit again or stay a few extra days. And we needed to grow. To be on the team that could actually get that done was super meaningful because it had been kind of contemplated. It was in the zeitgeist for decades. And no one could really get it started. So our CEO, Marty Brooks, was able to, in 2019, get it started. And we hired an owner's rep. We hired an architecture team. We hired a construction management team. And we got to work to see, like, what really do we need? Like, what kind of building really does the city need? And we put pen to paper and really contemplated that carefully. And then we presented those renderings to our board on March 6th of 2020. And correct. Thank you. That is the right answer. And like the time that we put into that meeting, and like none of us had ever put more preparation into a meeting ever. It was the biggest meeting of our lives. So we thought,
have a pandemic contingency in your plan?
Funny, no, we didn't. My role in that first meeting, though, I will never forget this. Marty and I thought to ourselves, listen, we knew that we would want a naming rights partner eventually, but who knew when that was coming down? We knew that we needed a thematic campaign or concept to talk about this project because we are quasi-governmental, which means we are on our own. We do collect taxes, but we don't report to city, county, or state. We're governed by a 17-member board of directors. It's complex. So what is this project? And so we ultimately worked with someone who helped us develop this theme of building more. And what we did with that was we were able to modify then the third word to go along with any time Marty was out talking about this project. We're building more economic impact. We're building more diversity. We're building more excitement. We're building more camaraderie. We're building more connections. And really representing, that was the groundwork, I think, for us to understand and start the storytelling of what this project means to the city, county, state over time. And so we got the project in front of the board on March 6th, and Marty was like, listen, none of our clients have canceled because of this pandemic thing. It's probably fine. So we all know what happened a week later. We knew forever that we would have to take the project to the board for their authorization on April 2nd of 2020. It had to be that date because there was a general election on April 7th that was going to change the makeup of our board. And so we thought, what do we do? Are we stupid to still ask for this vote, or are we brave? And so we asked for the vote.
Awesome.
It was awesome. And at the time, we're 3 weeks in the pandemic. Can you even remember? It was just chaos. No one had any idea what direction was up. And so we had to do a voice vote over the phone because we didn't have Teams or Zoom or anything. We had a conference call. So I was sitting in my living room tallying as everyone's voting, and the board authorized it. And I'm so grateful for their forward vision because there are so many reasons that had they not voted yes that day, that project may never have come to fruition. And if it did, it would only be today, just now in 2024, able to even be discussed again. Anyway, So off we went. And then the objective was, for me, listen, Toots, how do you make this matter? Like, who really cares about their convention center? Why does any resident care about their convention center? Okay, well, we're going to tell you why you should think about it. So we categorized into 3 main priorities and buckets that we funneled every story into for the next 4 years. And that was sustainability, DEI, and economic impact. Those are imprinted on my brain for forevermore. And guess what? It was not that hard for us to tell those stories. Like, oh my God, the power and the possibility of a $456 million project, it's unbelievable. You just have to find the moments and be committed to telling and sharing the stories. And we had such wonderful partners who...
Did you find that like one of those narrative threads was more important in different settings? Like, did you intuitively know which ones to emphasize? Or was it always the 3?
It was always the 3, but it definitely, like, if Marty was talking to a specific audience, of course it was based on the audience. I mean,
There's one
sustainability, economic impact, and DEI. And I learned along the way that it is not so common for project owners, in this case us, to be as involved as we were on a storytelling side. Usually the thing just gets built and isn't this great? And congratulations, high five, have a party, and you did it. Not us. I was absolutely relentless in making sure that we were working with our partners to find the moments to tell stories that fit into those categories. And like our construction partners, whom to this day I adore, one in particular, one of the site managers was like, God, Sara, I know you're looking for the stories. And I was like, yes, like I'm finally getting you. You're getting it. It matters. But like the relationships and the people who put their hearts and souls into building that thing and the way that money can impact the city directly, it's unbelievable. But only if you're talking about it, only if you're giving people a reason to care. And that was my primary piece of it. And just, so happy.
Yeah. I think that we ought to consider creating a show, a series on maybe Netflix.
Good.
That takes place
in
the Wisconsin Center District.
Okay, good.
Space.
Yeah.
And it's about, let's say, a young man who's trying to come up, and he gets this job there, and the backdrop is all these really strange events that are happening. And there's always something going on dramatically with the team.
Okay, yeah. This is not a stretch.
Your mentor,
right?
Sarah. You know, like we could build it from there. I'm just saying.
Listen, this is an easy reality show.
If there's a show that takes place at this thing that actually exists, and everybody around the country is watching, who's not going to want to come and have an event there?
Listen, easy, done. That writes itself, because that's every day.
I also think action figures, just like a figure of this building.
Yeah, we actually have that. There's a Lego set, a custom Lego set of Baird Center.
You serious?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our friends at Visit Milwaukee had it created for a congratulations gift.
Of course they
did. Of course they did. Love them.
All right, so what was were you also involved with like internal communications in addition?
Oh, totally. Yes,
so
of course.
Internal communications, what was the hardest part during the process? Any big challenges that came up?
Well, so before this even happened, and I think truly the reason that we were able to get a yes authorization from the board, Marty and I, when he started in 2018, he looked at me about 2 weeks in and he was like, God, this place is kind of sucks. And I said, God, I know. And I had only been there for a short time myself. And it just, like, we could be so much better. The culture was really not functional. Sucked the fun right out of dysfunctional. I mean, it was something. And
thank you for that. And you used the word zeitgeist. Yeah, you earned it really well.
Thank you.
And I wrote down an idea for a T-shirt when you said it, because you said it's in the zeitgeist. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like a T-shirt, it's in the zeitgeist. Yeah. I was just thinking, that could be sealed in the. That could be sewn in the entryway, you know. All right. So yeah.
So we went about this entire culture shift, and the reason that that's important is because when it comes, internal comms is like my baby. I love her.
Okay.
And the reason I love her is because I have seen and created firsthand what can happen when you empower people to be great and you charge them with taking accountability for their actions in a way that is exciting and makes them feel like they are truly part of the success because they are. And you keep that train moving. And so one of the things that we heard from our employees in 2018 was that they didn't get what was happening just in terms of our daily events, which is just mind-blowing. So we started early on with internal comms, and it was scrappy. I mean, we were like, how do we even start this thing? And it just started with emails and some town hall meetings and things like that, where we were very open and inviting dialogue from all levels of the organization. I mean, remember, we have like the most important person in our organization are our guest services staff who work part-time, and they're the ones greeting folks when they come through our doors, helping them with directions. Where do I find this? Where's this room? Things like that. Like that in the moment experience is what people and guests take away with them. That is the reputation of our building. But Greg, these people work like it's possible that they might work 8 hours a month. So how do I create a scenario where you can care, where you feel like you have access to information, where you feel like you are communicated with clearly and respectfully, and that I value your work and you are seen and you are contributing to this. So all of that started in earnest, very seriously before the expansion was authorized. And I think that that's the secret sauce, because the building is beautiful, but it can't run itself. It has to have a heart and soul and a personality to go with it. And if people didn't care, we would never continue to be successful. Never. And so that internal comms piece is my pride and joy.
What's more important, that they know they're informed or that they're informing?
Yes.
All of it's very important.
Mm-hmm. I think it's that they are informed on a regular cadence that is predictable and in a way that is familiar. So like, as an example, every time we have a board meeting, Marty does a CEO notes section in the board meeting. These are public meetings that anyone can listen into. Oh, some people do, some people don't, fine. But every time we have a board meeting, those CEO notes get emailed out to every single member of the staff, full-time, part-time, everyone. Because we want people to know that if you wish to consume this information, here it is. You don't have to. But if you want to be a little more involved in like the actual business, here it is. But at the same time, like it's written in the exact same format every time. It's very predictable. When is it coming out? How am I supposed to consume this thing? And then always there is at the end of any email, any communication, anything, hey, if you have more questions or feedback, reach me at whatever. And whether it's coming out of the CEO's office or HR or one of the executive leaders or whomever, you let me know if you have questions. And truly, I'm not going to say open door, like you can just wander in anytime, because I might be here talking to you, but I welcome the feedback. Feedback is not negotiable. Feedback is not negotiable. They feel how they feel, and it's my job to listen and respond appropriately with either information or change.
So when you started, was it basically just you as a department?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did you recognize, all right, we need a team, and where did you start? And what would you say you learned from that?
Well, I mean, I knew it.
Should I ask
but
a few questions to that?
Yes, you can.
There's only 3, so.
It started with the person that I was reporting to seeing the same thing that I was seeing, which was that I had barely scraped the surface of what I could provide to the enterprise. But it turns out just the one person was not going to, how much, like I have the same 24 hours in a day as, Beyonce. Like we can only do what we can do. So he saw and appreciated that I needed more bandwidth and more bodies. So that was part 1 of it. Part 2 was just continuing to engage those people as we added the staff and really start to integrate our team into the other departments in the organization. Like, I truly was the first marketing or comms person ever. And so other departments had been accustomed to operating completely independently without standardization of how do we, what is our brand?
Was that received?
Yes, I think it was, some people were super jacked and some were very resistant. Now, at the same time, Marty's trying to go through this culture change. Like, there definitely was a period where some people were just voluntarily going like, listen, this is not the environment for me. I got to go. And okay, great. Like,
The soul working together and having clarity thing just isn't my thing.
I'm not interested. Fine. Great. I thank you for being forthcoming about that. Also, toodaloo.
Wait, we're going to do this together. We're going to be transparency.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. What was the hardest part of growing in team? And were you prepared for that? It was just like, okay, I'm going to make this up.
The hardest part was about 1.5 years ago because I asked for the okay to double my team. And it's one thing when you're adding onesie twosie, but we doubled. And that was hard for me because whenever we add someone new, the dynamic shifts. And so I really take a lot of personal responsibility in looking at that dynamic and figuring out, okay, where's our new deficiency? Like, I want my team to be so 360 representative in their thoughts, in their work processes, in their experience. Like, I want everyone to have a completely different opinion, ideally, and have all those opinions come together to find the right solution. So when I doubled overnight, the scary thing was, oh my God, what if these people don't get it? Fortunately, they did. And the big challenge there, I think, for those folks, both those who had been there and the new kids, was like, we kind of stared at each other for a minute, like, what, you're a new one? Yeah, but you've been here. But you're one of them. Yeah, but you're one of them. Right? Like, there was a maybe 60-day, 2-month sort of like feeling out period of how do we do this. But then there was also, we had to really come up with some efficiencies in workflow, because we had been so scrappy previously of just like, oh, got it, I'll do the thing and you do that. And we could just kind of scream across the hallway at each other. And now with more people on board, it needed to be more formalized and procedural. Okay, well, how do we do that? Okay, so we figured it out and like came together and gelled. And
what percentage of it was you just making it up based on what was in front of you and using
145,000% of it was me making it up. It was like, you guys, but it was always with the like, listen, here's the thing is like, I am fallible. My answer doesn't mean that it's the right answer. It's the one this is what we're going to go with now. And when you see or feel that that is off the rails, you got to tell me. Like, my favorite question to ask of my team is, what do you think that I don't see? What do you see that you think I don't see? Which doesn't mean I don't. Maybe I do and we just don't talk about it. But what do you think is happening that I don't see happening? And it can be with an individual. It can be amongst the whole team. It can be across the entire organization. It can be whatever. Like,
can you think of an example of something you learned through that?
Oh, there was a lot. I think for me, a big takeaway, in retrospect, I wish I could have been I wish I could have given myself more time to think about what I wanted to do next. I mean, at that moment, and the reason that I got the okay to double the team was because we were 9 months out from opening the expansion. And so these poor people who came on board, like, not only did they not know the business and they didn't know me, they also, there was a freight train coming their way, and like it was a ton of pressure. I do think, I hope that they would agree. I think the one thing I did well was to say, just hang on with me, okay? Hang on with me until we get this thing open, and we're going to kick ass. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be chaos like you've never known, but then it'll be calmer because we got this. And I think that part has come to fruition. I do wish that I had had more ability to just think a little more clearly as a department leader of how do we grow together. We got there, but I don't know that I was at my best for all of the different types of needs that were being presented simultaneously.
Yeah. Doing your best at the time.
Yeah, but
No.
could I have done better?
No.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Even with what you do then, or just in light of what you know now.
I think the latter.
I don't remember what. I always get the laugh.
And with what I know now, I would have moved a little differently, but where we came out, I mean, I just couldn't be prouder, and the way that every member of the team had embraced this project and understood, no matter if they had been there with me for 3 years or 3 months, like they embraced the scale and the scope of this $500 million project as much as they could, and they got to work, man. Like they cranked. The amount of product and productivity coming out of that department to this day is just like, because again, the days of us having to kind of piecemeal together and go, I don't know, is this what we should do? Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's try that. Not that far in the rearview mirror, like still pretty familiar territory. So I'm just bursting with pride at this group. And I really, I'm excited to see what we do next. We still got some tricks up our sleeve.
Yeah. Like when you guys create that show for Netflix.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Amazing.
Right.
So the Baird Center, UW Milwaukee Panther Arena, Miller High Life Theater, and WCD at Large. What does WCD at Large mean?
So Wisconsin Center District is the name of the organization we were formed by an act of legislation in 1994 to own and operate those 3 venues.
Wow.
So the overarching organization owns and operates the 3 venues. There's a very small audience who needs to know what the WCD is, because that's not where you have your experience. It's not a place.
Yeah.
Right? You have your experience in Baird Center or Miller High Life Theater or UWM Panther Arena. That's where you're going to your convention or your gala or your concert or your ads game or whatever. You're not at the WCD. So
ads game is what the insiders for
Admirals.
seeing.
Yes.
Just
hockey.
or confused by our insiders speak.
Sorry for the jargon. Anyway, so the people who need to know what the WCD is are employees, of course.
So that's the at large, like any communication is kind of
the board,
wow.
Government affairs, that kind of stuff.
That's some gear shifting.
Total code switch.
That's about what's happening at the Panther Arena. Now let's talk to the board. Yeah. So of all these locations, what is the most fun and what's the hardest?
In the venues?
Like I'm imagining each venue has its own unique challenges. So like you don't have to say the most. You have to vote for your show. But in general, like name like what's something that's really fun in that mix and what's something what's really challenging they're trying to solve right now.
Okay, so so Panther Arena, my favorite thing about UW and Panther Arena is when we take people through for a tour, or like we did Doors Open a couple of weeks ago. It was so great. So many people walk through those doors and go, oh, I remember when. Like the nostalgia for people is so meaningful, and it makes me so happy. Their memories are so precious to them, and I love that about that building. The challenges are, it's a tough building in a modern society to keep modernized. And we have invested a ton in seats and 360 video screens and Wi-Fi and everything we can do. But at some point, we cannot make the concourses wider. So that's kind of the push-pull of that vintage style venue. The High Life Theater is haunted. Miller High Life Theater has some ghost action happening every now and then. I have not.
That's the third T-shirt.
Some ghost action.
It's on it, not on the back. Some ghost action. Yeah, got it. Okay.
I have never witnessed this firsthand.
Yeah,
but that's
how do you know it's haunted?
Because other people say so.
Yeah, but who are those people?
Our old, he just retired. Our director of facilities, vice president of facilities, who had been with the district without embellishment longer than I've been alive.
So did you also use drugs while working ever?
Listen, I can speculate.
What
I
is-
don't know. The story is that there is a ghost in a photo, in a framed photo.
Oh, your powder stuff.
Yeah. So I love that about it. We had, when we were remodeling.
That's a good place for a ghost to be, because
Totally.
like then you had like sell tickets and everyone can chill.
Well, and by the way, like there's a lot of room in there for him or her to like move about. Like there's a lot of little nooks and crannies in that old building. It's good stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So when we were part of the expansion project for Baird Center was modernizing the South Building, which is where the admin offices are. So while that was happening, we all moved over to the admin offices, which are on the second floor of the Miller High Life Theater. So my fondest memory, I was like, and it's just a big open space. And we were all like, oh my God, this is going to be like living in a fraternity house or something. It was awesome. We had the most fun when we were over there. And because it was just this wacky period of transition, we knew it was temporary. Everyone was just kind of hollering at each other. It was great for the culture. And people just came. It was awesome. So that's my favorite theater memory.
Nice.
Although I did also sit really in a great seat when Michelle Obama had her book tour there in 2019, which was also awesome. And then Baird Center, it is spectacular. I mean, it really, the South Building, as I mentioned, has been completely modernized on the interior. Outside looks the same, but on the inside, you wouldn't know that you're in, I'm going to use air quotes, an old building. But that North Building, she's special. And my favorite part about it is the public art that we have in there. There was a committee. There was only 7 members, primarily made up of artists from across the state and in different mediums. And then one of our board members, and then I was the only voting member of the staff. And we went through this years-long, very rigorous process to public call for artists and whittle it down. We had hundreds and hundreds of submissions and came.
Wouldn't it be sad to be on that committee if you're an artist? Because then you can't. Can you put your art?
Well, the artists who were on the committee were like writers, videographers, different mediums.
All right.
Anyway, I don't care where I go or what I do. That little piece of my soul will always be represented there. And if you haven't seen it, let me know. I'll take you down anytime. It is unbelievably awesome.
Yeah. That's
so diverse and so interesting and so fun. And some of them are serious and some of them are lighthearted and some of them are wacky and some of them are like eye-popping and some of them are 3D and some of them are 2D and like some of them are prints, like hand-carved prints. And it's unbelievable, the talent.
Yeah.
Oh,
so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple more things.
Yeah.
You received a lot of accolades, and including Milwaukee Business Journal CMO of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that came with a hat or something.
That's Josh.
What achievements are you most proud of, and what does it feel like to be awarded something like that for you?
I mean, I'll work backwards. The feeling of receiving distinctions like that is really humbling, really, really humbling. And I'm so grateful that anyone would see me in a light that would warrant that kind of recognition. It's just, I'm delighted and grateful. And I think it reflects so well on the work that we've put in at the district to change the culture. I mean, 6 years ago, we were a non-topic. No one knew what it was or certainly didn't care. And now they do. And so I take a lot of satisfaction for the district when those types of, whether it's me or a colleague of mine or whatever, I just think, yep, yes, we did. And there's a lot of pride in that. And the favorite distinction, is that what you said?
Yeah.
This is which is my favorite baby?
Favorite accomplishment, even if it wasn't an award, just...
No, I honestly, I think favorite accomplishment. I mean, the most fun party I've ever attended was our grand opening gala. So that was like just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Was We had,
Did you have to plan it though?
I got to, I didn't have to.
You enjoy planning?
Well, so we worked with a production team. We hired David Caruso, and then he hired 4 other people as well. So it was, Marty and I were overseeing it. And man, it was, I have done a lot of events and been to more events than I could count. It was flawless.
Yeah.
And
So cool.
and it was so cool. And I just, it was a beautiful night and just a wonderful representation summary, tiny little, 4-hour summary of the 5 years before it. And people were so proud and so awestruck and stunned. And, now we go back to, why do you care about your convention center? I'm here to make you care about your convention center.
Yeah.
It matters to you, and it matters to the community.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I love David Caruso.
How can you not?
It's a fun person to build that with.
Yeah, it was. We had a ball.
What are you most excited about for the future of Milwaukee events?
Oh my God. This city, the sky is the limit. I am excited about the potential. It is truly, there's no stopping. There is no stopping us. There's no reason to stop us. This is, I think, the greatest city in the world. I'm so proud to live here. I'm so proud to raise a family here. I can tell you with 100% certainty, when I moved here 22 years ago, I couldn't have identified it on a map. And it is the best. There's no reason that we shouldn't continue just to be awesome and attract top-tier events, because we have proven several times now that we got it.
Yeah. I have a friend in Memphis who he has an opportunity to do a public market Memphis. And when he was researching, multiple people told him you have to go to Milwaukee to see the public market. And so he came up this week for just a day. And it was so fun to give him a tour and just talk about Milwaukee.
Yeah.
There's so many things.
Right. Where do you start? For a day.
We had lunch and he just connected. He just wandered around downtown.
Awesome.
Taking pictures of everything. And afterwards, he's like, I want to come back to Milwaukee.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, there's so much happening.
Yeah.
All right. So, one more question. What do you wish more people would understand about you or what you do?
Ooh.
You asked the question of what do you think I can't see? What do you think people can see about you and what you do?
I was unprepared for that question. I don't wish people could see this about me, but I do think for sure, I know for sure. And now this is, again, where the personal and professional crosses over. People have no idea what my actual life is like.
Yeah.
No freaking clue. The chaos of my 5 to 9. I'm at my 9 to 5 to have a hot cup of coffee and an adult conversation, and it's awesome. So I just think my point in that is you never know what goes on behind closed doors. Everyone's dealing with something. Just bring a little grace into the situation and just bring your best energy. Bring your best energy into the room every day. And listen, some days that does not work, but most days it does. So I think what I wish people would do is to have a little more accountability over what they're bringing to the table, because everyone has the power to positively add to the conversation. Similarly, everyone has the power to negatively suck the air out of the room.
Yeah.
So that's where the self-awareness comes in, and the accountability of is this heading in the you can feel it. So pay attention.
Yeah. So one of the reasons we did this podcast was when you look at somebody who's marked as notable about something, there's a bio and there's all the cool things, But Dylan Torr, our producer, brought up the question of what if we interview these people that what would happen, And what struck me about it was this would be a chance for me to see what's notable about people deeper than the bio. And the themes that I think are coming out in our conversation for me are you have a very high IQ skill level, but you have an extremely high EQ as well, emotional intelligence. And so that ability to get things done while also being highly in tune with yourself and with others, it really gives you the ability to facilitate human connection on a really powerful level. And I think it's really obvious with the team, even what you're doing for the Baird Center and all those things. Oh, yeah, for billions. But yeah, it's that combination of high IQ, high EQ, which makes you vulnerable, I think, to feeling everything that's happening and knowing what you can fix, but you don't have time to. So it's like suffering. There's a suffering that comes with it, but you have the gift is the human connection is going to happen, and that comes out with your advocacy for working moms. You can't help it. You got to just
that's totally right.
Yeah. So thanks for doing this.
Thanks for saying that. That's really thoughtful and kind.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're pretty awesome. And this conversation wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for our sponsor, Mustaches. Grow one. They just told me to say it like that, so I felt awkward doing it, but
Still not a thing.
it's a day. Does your husband have a mustache?
He's football beard. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Would you like it if it was just a mustache?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, because mustache, right? All right. Thanks for watching this thing.